I forgot an SD card for my camera, so recording on my phone. Hello. It has been officially 1 year since the last time I sat down, kind of did a video like this, so I thought it could be sweet just to kind of sit down again, reflect on the last year, give you guys some updates of just like what's been going on. Yeah, and just kind of take a little moment for introspection, I guess. Yesterday I was sat down in a coffee shop to write, got all locked in with my music on, my notebook out, ready to go, and just nothing came to mind. And so like sometimes what I'll do when that happens is I'll just kind of like open up YouTube, just like see what's there, see if I can get the juices flowing a little bit. And what I ended up stumbling upon was my own YouTube. Honestly, I don't remember how that happened. I think it's kind of hard to just stumble upon your own YouTube, so I probably opened it myself. And I just started from the beginning, and I watched the first video that I posted, and then I watched everything else. And I just found myself bawling in the middle of this coffee shop, like watching everything from the last year. So I wanted to just take a moment to kind of like recap what's happened in the last year. So the last like video that I posted from last semester, that was the final project for like a video editing class that I was in, and that kind of closed out my semester. So after that video, I think the next time that I touched the camera was I attempted to make another one of these videos, but I don't know, I really struggle with like, I don't really have like a ton of, I think I used the word authority in the last video about this kind of stuff, and so it just was like a little bit, felt like I was maybe talking out of my ass a little bit about some stuff that, you know, I haven't fully lived out yet. So I was like, maybe I'll like hold back on posting that. Then past that, like I went up on a mountain and worked at a summer camp for a few months, and like kind of just intentionally just like took that as a break just from everything. Wanted to just take some time and like put some work into the idea that not every idea needs to be like immediately acted on, and just kind of like let things develop for a little bit. And honestly, I was just like so thankful that I did that. That was really helpful for me. And so going into the next semester, I made one film, Swing Set Blossom. I posted it, and it's funny, like from the original ideation to the outcome, like complete swing and a miss. That was not at all how that film was supposed to turn out. But like watching it again yesterday, like it was sweet. It was very brief, definitely some mistakes in there, but it made me smile. So I don't know, I think there is like more value to it than I originally thought when I made it. And then for the rest of the semester, I did not really touch a camera. Following like the camp that I was working at, there's like kind of like a lot of like hard stuff that I went through, and I was just like super like angry. And so like what I ended up doing was just like kind of hunkering down for a month and just kind of like researching what I was feeling scientifically, like what was going on in my brain, but also just like getting into the Bible of like evidence in like scripture of like what I was feeling. And like really more importantly, like what I was getting towards is like what responsibility did I have to like act on it, and what did that look like to act on it. I have endless notes from the research that I was doing. And then one day, like I sat down to write, and I was like, you know what, like I think I got something from this. And I like opened up my script writer app, and like a page came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like yeah, this feels like it could be it. I can actually, it's not even in a draft anymore, so I'll probably like I'll put it up on the screen right now, just like the first little bit. And then yeah, I just spiraled into like writing a full-length feature film, which I like genuinely did not believe I had in me. Didn't think that I like was capable of something that big, but such a blessing that I got to like work through that, and I'm still working on that project. From my original academic plan, I was set to graduate in the fall of 2023. And so I was coming up on the end of fall of 2022 as a semester, and just kind of trying to take a look at like big picture, what's going on here? Like, what is it going to look like when I graduate? Am I ready for that? And I realized really quick that the program that I was in, way more geared towards the academic side of film as opposed to production, which is like a little bit more my wheelhouse and like direction I want my career to head. So through a lot of meetings with like professors and academic advisors, ended up deciding that I should transfer schools. And so I did. And that has been this semester now. I'm at a new school, and it has been probably like 3 of the hardest months that I've been through. So kind of going back to my experience watching the films that I made last year. This is something I don't think I've mentioned before, but the first 2.5 years of my college career, I was actually in engineering. I was studying mechanical engineering. In the fall semester of my junior year, I got really sick and ended up having like a lot of cognitive issues that came out of that illness. And like out of nowhere, just like suddenly my brain couldn't really like do math, really struggled with like critical thinking. I had some memory loss issues, just like this long list that just kind of came out of nowhere. And so I ended up dropping out of school, quitting my job, moving off campus, like the whole thing. And there's just like a little bit where like my life just went on pause. at that time, like, I knew that film was the direction that my career was heading. I just didn't really know how to get there. And in that pause, like, it just became so clear, like, all right, this is it. I think film is now where I should jump in head first. And so that spring semester, I re-enrolled in the film program, started classes, and like started posting on YouTube. And when I started, like, I had no other goal or motivation than just like putting my heart on the screen in a way that like I don't know if I possess right now. And so I was just watching like such basic emotions with such simple ideas. I didn't even realize how simple and how straightforward the concepts were. I remember like feeling just so much overwhelming pride in the work I was doing then, and like, dude, so many mistakes. Like, seeing it now, like, oh my gosh, so many technical mistakes, but I still feel that same feeling of just like, wow, like, I really did it. And it's funny now seeing like, this is probably, I don't think I've ever felt less confident in who I am as a creative. When I started out, I kind of hit the ground running and was really happy with the work that I was doing. And I kind of just expected that growth from there would be linear. And so I was like, all right, like, if I'm here and this is a year from now, obviously I'm just going to keep going up. But that's not the case a lot of times. And in my case, that is not what happened. I think it's funny too, like, watching my first video, I talked about like, I'm not speaking from a place of authority over these things. Like, I'm just like learning as I go and like trying to create a space to like be honest about it. And so like, that's kind of the motivation here, is like, I'm learning that. And like, I don't even think I realized at the time how true that was. And I'm learning the truth to that just step by step. I don't know if I know what it looks like to step forward from that. Like, I don't know like moving forward what that's going to look like, but I do know that all of this is a process. It takes time. And like, at some point you kind of have to just be willing to sit down and put in the time. And that's what I'm trying to do. I do want to say too, like, it was extremely humbling to like look back on the comments on my videos too. It's like really hard to express on like in the comment section like the full extent of my gratitude. For those of you who have like watched my videos and left comments, genuinely I am so extremely grateful for the feedback that you guys have given and the kind words you guys have shared. Like, yeah, like, it makes me tear up a little bit. It is still surreal to me that like I get to sit down and like my days are spent for the majority of the time like thinking of ideas that are just like in here and developing them and then putting them on screen. And even crazier that like people get to watch those things. It's insane to me. And your guys' like feedback through like those platforms is just like eternally grateful for that. Thank you so much, genuinely. Like, I'm so appreciative of you. Thank you. So like a little bit of like looking at the future, I am working at the same summer camp again this summer. I applied to probably like close to 15 jobs, everywhere from like film internships to coffee shops to like anything. I didn't even get emails back on everything except for the summer camp that I'm working at. I don't know. I feel like this is worth sharing, of just like, even more so, like, you have this expectation when you start of how things will go. A year ago, I would have 100% thought that I would have a resume that would get traction from internships, and I don't. And that's okay. So I probably won't be making too much content this summer. I will be writing a lot, so hopefully that means that by the time I get into my capstones next semester, like, I'll start to have some films that I'm feeling like maybe a little bit more of like my heart in, my identity in. We'll see. I don't know, God willing. Thank you for listening to me ramble about just the last year. And I hope it comes across to like the things that I say that maybe sound a little negative. I do not have the perception that those are negative things. I'm actually very grateful for this position that I'm in and for the perspective that I get to have. Absolutely rad to be here figuring this stuff out. And it's crazy that like there are right now 56 of you that are kind of following that journey with me, and even like a handful of you that are like actively supporting me through that. That's pretty cool. So thank you. I guess I'll see you around. Thanks.